My name's Noah. I'm 29, single, and live about 2 hours away from my hometown. I work as a software engineer for a company that lets me work remotely, and I'm the kind of guy who prefers quiet over chaos, peace over drama. Which is ironic, considering I was born into a family that practically feeds on drama like it's oxygen. I'm the oldest of three, and if you asked my mom, she'd say I came out of the womb with a stick up my shirt. Her words, not mine. My sister, Ava, is 27, gorgeous, loud, the type who turns heads and loves it. My brother Liam is 24, a walking mess of half-baked startup ideas and Instagram reels about manifesting wealth. You could say we're different. You'd be right. Thanksgiving has always been a battlefield for us. Every year, the same cast, same lines, same behind-the-back whispers passed like side dishes. But I kept showing up. Out of duty, I guess. Guilt. Or maybe I just kept hoping something would change. Spoiler alert, it didn't. In fact, last year's Thanksgiving was the beginning of the end for them. Growing up, I always felt a little out of sync with my family. Not unloved, but definitely misunderstood. I was the boring kid who didn't sneak out, who did his homework, who actually read the labels on shampoo bottles just to know what was in them. Ava was the golden child, the entertainer, the personality. My mom doted on her like she was some kind of royalty. Liam, the baby, he could burn down the living room and still be told he meant well. And me? I was the reliable one, the one who fixed things, the one who paid when someone forgot their wallet, the one who showed up. But slowly, over time, I noticed a shift. Maybe it had always been there, but something about getting older sharpens your senses. You stop brushing things off as just family stuff. You start noticing how often the jokes are aimed at you, how you're the punchline in every group conversation, how no one really asks how you're doing unless it's to compare or criticize. Last Christmas, I showed up with a thoughtful gift for everyone, handpicked, wrapped neatly, even a little note inside each one. Ava rolled her eyes at the scarf I gave her. "Oh, you still think I like purple?" she said. Then she laughed and added, "Noah still shops like it's 2005. Everyone chuckled. I smiled, but something twisted inside. Liam opened the tech organizer I got him, a really nice one, by the way, and said, "This is cool, but I kinda need cash more than this, man. No offense." My mom laughed, not at them, but at me. "He means well, Noah," she said. "Maybe next year just ask what they want instead of guessing." I remember the car ride home. Cold. Silent. I had the radio off, just driving through the dark highway, my own thoughts louder than anything Spotify could have offered. That was the first time I questioned why I even bothered. But I'm not stupid. I know family dynamics are complicated. I didn't expect parades or gratitude. Just maybe a little respect. A little warmth. Something. So this year, when my mom called in October and told me she was putting me in charge of the Thanksgiving reservation again, I hesitated. Not because I didn't want to, but because I knew exactly what that meant. It wasn't a request, it was a command. That's how it always is. I plan it. I pay the deposit. I coordinate the time. I confirm the head count. I accommodate everyone's allergies, diets, schedules. And I do it with a smile, because heaven forbid I push back. Same place as last year. I asked. No, Ava says it was too loud. We want that new French bistro on Franklin. Can you call and get us a table for 22? Should be easy if you call now. 22. I didn't even know who the other 10 were, but I nodded like I always did. I'll handle it. She hung up with a distracted, "Thanks, sweetheart," like I was her assistant, not her son. And maybe, in her eyes, that's what I was. I called the place, booked it, paid the $500 deposit with my own money, as usual. They needed a card on file in case of no-show. I didn't blink. I never do. A week before Thanksgiving, I got a text from Liam. No context, just a screenshot of a group chat I wasn't in. It was Ava, my mom, 2 cousins, and him. The top message was from Ava. "Can't wait for Thursday. Let's toast to Noah's fashion sense. Someone please record his reaction when we give him that shirt." Then my mom chimed in with, "Be nice. But yes, let's get a group pic of him in it. We'll make it the family Christmas card." Liam followed up with, "I shouldn't be showing you this, but I thought you should know." I stared at the screen for a long time. The shirt was apparently some hideous inside joke, a bright neon yellow monstrosity with Mr. Spreadsheet printed on the front, a nickname Ava coined last year after I made a Google Doc for Secret Santa pairings. They were planning to surprise me with it during dinner. in front of everyone, record my reaction, and use it as the family Christmas card. Suddenly, everything from the last decade clicked. Every insult masked as humor. Every gift I'd given that was mocked. Every time I wasn't invited to the group chat. Every time I had to sit there, smiling through the burn. They didn't respect me. They didn't appreciate me. They tolerated me for convenience. I was the reliable one. The one who footed the bill, who played chauffeur, who absorbed the jokes. I wasn't family. I was a running gag. I didn't reply to Liam's message. I just locked my phone, leaned back on the couch, and stared at the ceiling for a long time. A storm was building inside me. Not loud, not fast, just steady, controlled. I didn't sleep much that night. My mind kept replaying every slight I'd brushed off. Every time I convinced myself I was overreacting. But I wasn't. Not this time. This time, they crossed the line. This time, they didn't just mock me, they plotted it. They coordinated it. They thought it was funny. And I was done. But I wasn't just going to cancel Thanksgiving and ghost them. No, that would be too easy. Too predictable. I wanted them to feel it. To sit there, dressed up, smiling for the cameras, waiting for a meal that would never come. I wanted them to explain to 22 people why the host wasn't there. Why there was no reservation, no food, no plan B. And I had an entire week to get it just right. The day after I saw that screenshot, I woke up early. Earlier than usual, anyway. Something about being betrayed has a way of jolting you awake before your alarm. I sat at my kitchen table, sipping black coffee, staring out the window like I was in some indie film. It was raining, go figure, and the whole apartment smelled like ground beans and bitter resolve. I didn't text Liam. I didn't text anyone. I needed to think. Really think. For 29 years, I played the good son, the dependable big brother, the one who cleaned up the messes no one acknowledged. I was the family's emotional janitor, quietly sweeping up the aftermath of every tantrum, every drunken argument, every passive-aggressive dinner jab. And until now, I told myself that was just part of being the oldest, the anchor, the peacemaker. But this wasn't peacekeeping anymore. This was surrender. I went to work that day, logged into Slack, responded to a few bug reports, but my brain was somewhere else. Every now and then, I'd glance at the tab with the reservation info for the French bistro. I knew what I wanted to do, but I also knew if I was going to go through with it, I had to let the betrayal simmer. I had to feel it fully. I needed the emotional receipts. So, like an idiot, I waited. That Friday, just 4 days before Thanksgiving, my mom called me. Not texted. Called. Which only happens when she wants something she thinks she can't say in writing. I let it go to voicemail. An hour later, I listened to the message while pacing my apartment. Hey, honey. So, Ava had an idea, and I think it's just hilarious. We're going to have a little roast at dinner. Nothing mean, just some fun stories about everyone. You know, just to make it lighthearted. I told her we'd start with you since you're the oldest, and then go around the table. Hope that's okay. Oh, and can you call the restaurant and make sure they have enough wine options? We might need to bring our own bottles. Thanks, love you. I stared at my phone like it had slapped me. A roast. Of me. Starring Ava. That wasn't just passive disrespect anymore. That was deliberate humiliation, disguised as tradition. And my mother, the woman who should have had my back, was in on it. Laughing. Supporting it. Probably printing the cue cards herself. I should have known. The next morning, I finally replied to Liam's text. Thanks for the heads up. Don't tell them you showed me. He heart-reacted it, then didn't say anything else. I thought about telling him more. About the roast. About how sick I felt reading that voicemail. But something stopped me. Maybe because deep down, I didn't trust him either. After all, Liam was the king of fence-sitting. Always playing both sides. He'd rat on Ava, then party with her the next night. He'd borrow money from me, then complain to her that I was too uptight about finances. Still, he'd given me that screenshot. Maybe that was worth something. On Sunday night, Ava posted a story on Instagram. She was at a salon, getting her nails done. The caption read, "Prepping for Turkey Day, gotta look cute when I destroy Noah." The second I saw it, something in me snapped. I wasn't sad. I wasn't shocked. I wasn't even angry in the traditional sense. I was hollow, calm, focused. I stared at the screen for a good 30 seconds. Then I opened my email, pulled up the reservation confirmation, and hovered over the cancel button. Not yet, I told myself. Too soon. I needed them to feel safe first. Let them get dressed. Let them gather the guests. Let the night unravel in real time. But I knew now I was doing this. Monday morning came. I called in a few favors. Booked a cozy little cabin 3 hours north. Fireplace, lake view, Wi-Fi. The works. Just for a couple nights. I'd leave Thanksgiving morning, early enough to be off the grid by the time my phone started blowing up. That night, I got another text from Mom. Don't forget to bring your camera. Ava says you're the only one who knows how to get good lighting. Translation: come play photographer for your own public shaming. I didn't reply. Tuesday rolled around. I called the bistro, spoke to the manager. Told him I'd be canceling the reservation Wednesday night, but I didn't want to lose the deposit, so I asked about their policy. He said as long as I canceled by 8 p.m. the night before, I'd get 50% back. That worked for me. It wasn't about the money. It was about timing, theater, satisfaction. Then came Wednesday, the calm before the storm. Around 4 p.m., Ava sent a group text. Can't wait to see everyone tomorrow. For 30 sharp. No flaking. Noah, wear something other than black or gray, please. No one responded directly to me, but my mom chimed in with, he always looks handsome, even when he's dressed like a thundercloud, lol. My aunt sent a laughing emoji, then a turkey gif. Then the group chat quieted down. I turned off my phone at 7:59. At 8:01, I canceled the reservation. Then I packed. Thanksgiving morning, I got up before sunrise, tossed my bag in the trunk, filled a thermos with coffee, played a soft playlist as I drove away from my apartment, away from the city, away from the expectation that I'd once again swallow my pride for a plate of dry turkey and backhanded compliments. 3 hours later, I pulled up to the cabin. It was quiet. The air was sharp with pine and distant lake mist. I lit the fireplace, made some tea, sat by the window with a book I knew I probably wouldn't read. My phone was still off, tucked deep in my bag. Time passed slowly, like it does when you're waiting for something delicious to rot. At 4:32 p.m., my Apple Watch buzzed. A missed call from Mom, mobile. Then another from Ava, ugh. Yes, I renamed her contact months ago. Petty? Sure, but satisfying. Then a third call from a number I didn't recognize, probably the restaurant, confused and scrambling. I waited. By 5:15, I turned my phone on. 32 missed calls, 11 voicemails, 27 texts. I didn't open any of them. Not yet. Instead, I sat down on the cabin couch, pulled the blanket over my legs, and poured a glass of wine. My watch buzzed again. This time, a text from Mom lit up the screen. Where are you? The restaurant says there's no reservation. There are 22 people here. Noah, this isn't funny. I let it hang there. Then came another, from Ava. Noah, seriously, WTF. Where's the table? We look like idiots. Call Mom now. I waited 5 minutes. Sipped my wine. Watched the fire crackle. Then I finally responded. Enjoy explaining to 22 guests why there's no food. No emojis. No punctuation. Just that. Seconds later, the phone rang again. I let it ring out. Voicemail. Then another. And another. I set the phone on silent, laid back, and finally let myself breathe. I'd never felt this calm in my life. But this isn't where it ends. Because what happened after Thanksgiving, when the truth started leaking, when the lies fell apart, and when Liam dropped a bombshell none of us saw coming, that's when things really blew up. And that is a whole other story. After the last ring faded into silence, I turned off my phone again and tossed it on the cabin's coffee table like it weighed 100 pounds. I stared into the fire, trying to let the tension in my chest melt away, but it clung to me like static. The silence was loud, the kind that echoes inside your head after years of people talking over you. For once, no one needed me to pick them up from the airport, to help set the table, to split a bill they forgot to Venmo. I was alone. Entirely. And for the first time, that wasn't a punishment, it was a choice. But choices come with consequences, even the right ones. The next day, Black Friday, I drove back home in the early morning fog. I didn't even stop for coffee. I just needed to be back in my space. My sanctuary. But as soon as I opened my apartment door, I could feel the weight of what I'd done catch up to me. My phone buzzed repeatedly as it reconnected to Wi-Fi. Dozens of unread messages, missed calls, voicemails, DMs, even a couple of emails. I sat down on my bed and just stared at the screen. Part of me wanted to throw it across the room. Another part wanted to scroll through every message, see how bad it got. But I didn't. Not yet. Instead, I opened my laptop and checked my work email. A small reprieve. A client I'd been helping with a back-end redesign left a glowing review. CCNG my manager. Apparently, my bug fixes had improved their load times by 40%. I smiled faintly. It was the first good thing I'd read in days. Then I made breakfast. Eggs, toast, coffee. Something simple. Normal. I didn't want to think about what my family was doing, what stories they were spinning. I knew Ava. She was probably telling everyone I snapped or had a mental health episode. My mom would wring her hands and say she was worried sick, conveniently skipping over the part where she helped coordinate my public humiliation. Liam, though, I didn't know where he stood. Still on the fence, probably. I didn't check my texts until Sunday. That's when I hit the low point. The first message I read was from Ava, a screenshot of a Facebook post, already with over 100 likes. Her caption, well, Thanksgiving was memorable. Grinning face with sweat pro tip. Never count on the family spreadsheet guy to bring the stuffing. Or show up. The comments were even worse. He ghosted the whole family. Dude, that's cold. Was it a mental breakdown or just drama? Y'all should have cooked at home. Can't trust Noah with anything but Excel. And my mom had liked it. I didn't even know what to feel. Anger? Embarrassment? Some hybrid of both? I sat there, the phone warming in my palm, and for a second, I felt that familiar urge to shrink, to retreat, to apologize, even though I had nothing to apologize for. I could already hear their voices if I tried to explain. Why didn't you just tell us? It was a harmless joke. You overreacted. Again. But I didn't want to shrink anymore. I wanted to stand. Not for them, but for myself. Still, it hurt. No amount of resolve could dull that sting. I had canceled Thanksgiving to make a point, and they turned it into a meme. A spectacle. I didn't ruin their dinner. I gave them new material. I didn't text anyone back. Monday morning, I requested a few days off work. My manager, Karen, bless her, didn't ask for details. She just approved it and told me to take care of myself. I used that time to disappear, not from the world, but from their version of it. I started waking up earlier. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to. I'd go for walks before the city really woke up. Just me, the cold air, and the rhythmic sound of my own footsteps. I began journaling again, something I hadn't done since college. At first, it was just a brain dump. Anger, confusion, guilt. But slowly it shifted. I started writing to myself. Encouraging words. Honest reflections. Even dreams. I picked up old hobbies I'd let rot in the attic of my life. I dusted off my DSLR and started taking photos around the city. Light and shadows. Faces of strangers. Moments that didn't ask for permission to exist. I also began putting real energy into a side project I'd been playing with for years. An app for freelancers to manage their time and rates more efficiently. Nothing fancy, but something I believed in. I called it Anchor Time. Simple, steady, like I wanted to be. I worked on it in the evenings. A couple hours here, a couple there. It felt good to build something that was mine. Not for clients. Not for bosses. Not for family. Just me. Meanwhile, the texts from home slowed down. My mom sent one message a week later. Can we talk? I didn't reply. Ava didn't bother. She was too busy uploading edited photos from a Friendsgiving she hosted 2 days after the disaster. Caption, no drama, just good vibes. Liam texted once, a short and strangely neutral message. Hope you're okay. Let me know if you ever want to talk. I didn't respond right away. I didn't know if he was checking in or checking on me. But part of me appreciated that he didn't pretend nothing happened. 2 weeks passed. The silence became soothing. Then, one night, I got a message from someone unexpected, my cousin Jenny. She was Ava's age, but we'd never been close. She lived in Austin, worked in event planning, and only flew home for the holidays if someone paid for her flight. Her message was blunt. Hey, just heard what really happened on Thanksgiving. Wanted you to know I think what they did was messed up. I stared at it for a long time. Typed, thanks, then deleted it. Rewrote it. Deleted again. Finally, I just replied. Appreciate it. She responded immediately. Your mom's been spinning it like you bailed out of nowhere. But Liam told me about the shirt. And the roast thing. Not cool. You were right to leave. Liam told her. That surprised me. It also made me curious. That night, I finally called him. He picked up on the second ring. Noah. Yeah. A pause. I wasn't sure you'd ever call back. I wasn't sure either. He let out a sigh. Look, man. I didn't know about the roast until the night before. Ava told me while she was drunk. I thought she was kidding at first. Then Mom confirmed it the next morning. That's when I sent you the screenshot. I figured. Thanks for that. He hesitated. I should have said something sooner. Or stopped it. But I didn't know how. I didn't say anything. He added, "You're not crazy. Or dramatic. They were planning to humiliate you. And it was disgusting." It was the first time someone in our family had said it out loud. "I know," I finally replied. "That's why I left." Another pause. "They're still trying to spin it," he said. "Mom's telling people you had a breakdown. Ava's pretending she's the victim. Dad's not saying much. But I told Jenny the truth. And she told a few others. It's spreading." I leaned back in my chair. "That's not why I did it." "I know," he said. "But still, it matters. People are starting to see it." We talked for an hour. About everything. About childhood. About how Ava's jokes had always gone too far. About how Mom played favorites, even when she didn't realize it. About how Liam always felt stuck in the middle, unsure which version of reality to believe. He apologized again. This time, it felt real. I still didn't fully trust him. Not yet. But something cracked open between us. Something honest. After that, things moved slowly. Quietly. I kept working on Anchor Time. Posted a beta on a couple forums. Got some interest from freelancers. Even a feature request or two. It was nothing massive, but it was mine. It gave me momentum. Direction. I also started therapy. Found a guy named Marcus, mid-40s, kind eyes, no-nonsense tone. Our first session was mostly me ranting about my family. But by the third session, we were digging deeper. Patterns, boundaries, self-worth, all the good, uncomfortable stuff. One afternoon, he said something that stuck with me. "You've spent your life being their scaffolding, holding up the structure while they climbed higher. But no one ever asked if you wanted to build your own." That line haunted me, in a good way. By mid-December, I started feeling like someone new. Not fully rebuilt, but standing, taller, straighter. Christmas was coming, and with it, the annual texts about travel plans and who's bringing what. Except this year, none came. Until one did. From my mom. "Hi, sweetheart. We haven't heard from you. Just want you to know we'd love for you to join us for Christmas Eve dinner. No pressure. Just family. We miss you." I stared at it for a long time. Then I read it again. No pressure. Just family. Funny how she always thought those two things were compatible. I didn't reply. Not yet. Because what I was about to do, what I was about to become, wasn't about them anymore. It was about me. And Christmas? Well, that was going to be a turning point they'd never forget. Something changes in you when you stop waiting for validation and start designing your own life. It's not loud. It's not cinematic. It's just this quiet click in your chest, like a gear finally locking into place. That's where I was. It had been 3 weeks since Thanksgiving. 3 weeks since I canceled the reservation, vanished to a cabin, and watched my family's carefully choreographed dinner collapse. They'd spun their stories. Ava played the martyr. My mom played the concerned parent. Liam stayed quiet, which was loud in itself. And I stayed gone. But now I wasn't just gone. I was planning something. It started with a question I wrote in my journal one night. What would it look like if I stopped being their scapegoat and started being the architect of my own story? I underlined it 3 times. That was the seed. I wasn't thinking revenge, not at first. Just boundaries. Distance. A clean break. But then my mom sent the Christmas text. "Hi, sweetheart. We haven't heard from you. Just want you to know we'd love for you to join us for Christmas Eve dinner. No pressure. Just family. We miss you. No pressure. Just family." The same family that plotted to humiliate me in front of 24 people. The same family that turned my silence into a punchline on Facebook. The same family that only missed me when I was no longer useful. And suddenly, it wasn't just about distance anymore. It was about balance. About showing them what it feels like to lose control of the narrative. To be the ones scrambling to explain themselves. To be at the mercy of someone else's silence. They wanted Christmas to be a reset. A sweep it under the rug kind of holiday. But I wasn't playing that game anymore. I was going to use it. Not just to prove a point, but to turn the tables completely. And I had just the plan to do it. First, I needed leverage. And leverage, I realized, wasn't about secrets. It was about perception. My family cared more about appearances than anything else. More than honesty. More than respect. More than actual connection. They lived for Instagram, for gossip, for approval from relatives they hadn't seen in 5 years. So I'd use that. I didn't need to shout. I didn't need to fight. I just needed to let the truth slip out. Loudly, clearly, and in the most inconvenient place possible. But to do that, I had to re-enter their world. So I replied. Just one line. I'll think about it. My mom's response came less than a minute later. That's all I ask. We'd love to see you. Ava already made the place cards for the table. Let me know if you want to bring dessert. She was already pulling me back into the system. The chore wheel. The planning trap. I smiled, almost fondly. I used to fall for that. Used to think it was love. Now I saw it for what it was, control. Over the next week, I did some quiet digging. Subtle things. I started with Jenny. We messaged a few times since Thanksgiving, just checking in. I decided to tell her the real plan. Okay, so? I might be going to Christmas Eve dinner. I texted. Her reply, what? What? I told her. Not everything, but enough. About the roast. The shirt. The fake concern. The photo they wanted to take for the Christmas card. She didn't even pretend to be surprised. That tracks, she wrote. Your mom posted some cryptic quote the other day like, family is who shows up even when it's hard. I rolled my eyes so hard I got a migraine. I laughed. Then I asked her a favor. I might need you to help me stir the pot a bit. Nothing cruel. Just destabilizing. Her reply was instant. Say less. Next, I needed to re-engage Liam. He was the wild card in all this. Too quiet to fully trust, but too involved to ignore. I texted him late at night, when people are most honest. Thinking about showing up for Christmas. Not to make peace. Just to watch. He replied after a few minutes. You planning something? I paused, then wrote back. Let's just say, I want to return the energy they gave me. Thought you might want front row seats. He didn't reply for a while. I thought maybe I overstepped. Then, I'm in. Just like that, I had my two allies. Now came the trickiest part, getting in without getting caught. I couldn't show up like old Noah. Quiet, helpful, holding a gift bag and swallowing insults. I had to play the role they gave me, until the moment I didn't. So I leaned in. I texted my mom asking what I could bring. She was ecstatic. Maybe that fancy spinach dip you made last year? Or wine. Ava's bringing dessert, and Liam's doing drinks. I replied, got it. Then I called the bakery near their house and placed an order for a custom cake. I told them exactly what I wanted on it, and frosting. It was subtle, but devastating. They didn't ask questions. I paid up front. The day before Christmas Eve, I called a local print shop and had them prepare something for me. A little booklet, professionally bound. Nothing flashy, just a clean white cover with one word on the front. Receipts. Inside, screenshots. Of the group chat where they planned the roast. Of the Facebook posts. Of the texts and DMs Ava forgot people could save. Of my mom liking every insult. At the back, I included a short letter. Just one page. I didn't write it to be cruel. I wrote it to be clear. It ended with this line. This isn't revenge. This is a reminder that silence is not the same thing as forgiveness. I printed 7 copies. One for each person who had played a part in what happened. I wasn't going to hand them out myself. I had a better idea. Christmas Eve arrived faster than expected. I dressed well. Not fancy, just enough to look unrecognizably unbothered. New coat, clean haircut, calm expression. As I pulled up to my parents' house, I spotted Jenny's car parked a few houses down. She'd agreed to arrive a bit late and to time her entrance perfectly. Inside, everything looked normal. Too normal. Ava greeted me first. Oh my God, look who decided to show up, she said, arms wide, like we hadn't spoken in months, because we hadn't. I smiled. Wouldn't miss it. My mom came over next, wearing her Christmas apron and a tense smile. Noah, you look good. Are you feeling better? I tilted my head. Better than ever. She blinked, unsure how to read that. I handed her the cake box. Spinach dips in the kitchen. And the cakes, well, you'll see. She raised her eyebrows, but took it. I made the rounds. Greeted cousins. Avoided small talk. Observed. Liam gave me a nod from across the room. Subtle. Solidarity. Then, 20 minutes in, right on cue, Jenny walked in with a bright red tote bag. She hugged a few people, then found me near the bookshelf. Drop point, she whispered. I handed her the small white box containing the 7 receipts, booklets. Dining room table, I whispered back. She winked. With pleasure. And then, she accidentally spilled her cider on the living room rug. Cue chaos. My mom and Ava rushed to clean it up. While they scrambled, Jenny slipped into the dining room and quietly placed each booklet on the seats. One per plate, just before dinner. Then she returned to the living room like nothing had happened. The final piece? The cake. My mom finally brought it out after dinner, smiling like she'd just won an award. Everyone, time for dessert. Noah brought a cake. Ava grinned. This better not be carrot. Then my mom opened the box. Silence. Because written across the top in perfectly neat cursive frosting were the words, "Thanks for the roast." You could have heard a pin drop. My mom stared at it. Ava's mouth opened, then closed. Liam laughed, quietly, into his glass. And I just leaned back in my chair, watching the storm build, calm as the eye. Because the booklets were still waiting on their chairs. They just didn't know it yet. The silence after my mom lifted the cake lid wasn't like the usual awkward pauses in our family gatherings. Those were mild, forgettable, patched over quickly with bad jokes or louder chatter. This silence was heavy, thick, a hum that filled the dining room like static right before a lightning strike. My mom stared at the frosting like it personally betrayed her. Ava's smile wavered, faltered, then completely dissolved. My dad, who had been strangely quiet all night, just exhaled slowly, like he'd been waiting for this moment without fully knowing it. The cake said everything. Thanks for the roast. It was the kind of message that wasn't angry, wasn't dramatic, wasn't frantic. It was calm, controlled. The tone of someone who knew exactly what had happened to them and was done pretending otherwise. Ava spoke first, her voice sharp. "What is this supposed to mean, Noah?" I shrugged lightly, leaning back in my chair. I thought it'd be a nice acknowledgement. Since you all put so much effort into planning that roast for Thanksgiving. My mom blinked rapidly. "What roast? Nobody planned." "Mom," I cut in gently. "Please don't insult us both by lying with the cake still open." Her mouth shut instantly. Across the table, Liam coughed into his napkin to hide a laugh. Aunt Carla, who had zero tolerance for nonsense and even less for wasted dessert, squinted at the cake, then at me. "What's going on?" I didn't answer. Not yet. I wanted the timing to land perfectly. My dad cleared his throat. "Maybe we should just cut the cake in." "Actually," Ginny interrupted from her seat near the end of the table, "you guys might want to take a peek at your chairs first." All eyes turned to her. Smooth. Subtle. Exactly what I needed. My mom frowned, confused, and lifted the edge of her place setting. And there it was. The booklet. White cover. Clean font. Receipts. She picked it up with trembling fingers. Slowly, the others followed. Page by page, the sound of paper turning filled the room like whispers. They read the group chat where Ava suggested the shirt, full of laughing emojis and bright neon mockery. They read the part where my mom agreed to kick off the roast with stories about how uptight I was. They saw the screenshot of Ava's Instagram story. "Gotta look cute when I destroy Noah." They saw Mom's Facebook likes under every comment calling me dramatic, flaky, unreliable. They saw everything. No one spoke for nearly 2 minutes. I'd never seen my family still before. Not frozen, just still. Like someone had hit pause on the dysfunctional family sitcom we all pretended wasn't crashing toward cancellation. My mom finally looked up. Her face was pale, shaken at the edges. "Noah," she whispered, "where did you get all this?" "From the people you talked about it with," I said simply. Turns out not everyone was comfortable being a part of it. A hush cascaded down the table. People shifted, avoided eye contact, cleared throats. Ava scoffed, but it lacked her usual confidence. "This is ridiculous. You're blowing everything out of proportion." "It was a joke. That's the problem," I replied. "You think disrespect is a personality trait." Her jaw tightened. "It wasn't meant to hurt you." "Then why were you planning to film it?" I asked. "Why did you want my reaction for your Christmas card?" I paused. "Why did Mom approve it?" My mom's gaze dropped instantly. Ava opened her mouth, probably to lie, or to twist the narrative into something she could survive, but my dad beat her to it. "Ava, enough." The entire table stared at him. Even I did. My dad had always been a gentle hum in the background of family chaos, present but muted, halfway between observer and ghost. Now he spoke with clarity. "You and your mother went too far. You think everything is a joke because people laugh. But Noah," he looked at me, steady. "Noah has been the only one keeping this family from falling apart." I swallowed hard. It wasn't praise. It was truth. And it hit with the weight of a decade. Ava's eyes welled, not with guilt, but frustration. "This is insane. You're all ganging up on me over one tiny thing." "One tiny thing," I repeated softly. "A planned humiliation. A group chat I wasn't in. A roast about me, not with me. A shirt you made to embarrass me. Post you made online after I left. Say what you want, Ava, but this wasn't a joke. It was a pattern. Aunt Carla nodded sharply. She's right, you know. You've always picked on him. Ava glared. You don't even live here, Carla. And thank goodness for that, Carla shot back. The argument began unraveling quickly. Ava snapping, Mom defending her, Carla pushing back, cousins whispering, Liam watching everything with quiet satisfaction. Which was my cue. I stood slowly, letting the room fall back into silence. Look, I said, voice calm even. I didn't do this to punish anyone. I did it because I needed you to see it. Really see it. I'm tired of being the quiet one. The dependable one. The punching bag you all assume can take it. Their eyes stayed on me. For years, I thought I had to earn respect. Thought if I was helpful enough, patient enough, forgiving enough, eventually things would change. I shook my head. But I realized something these past few weeks. Respect isn't earned. It's mutual. And I'm done giving what I don't get. My mom's lip trembled. So what now? Now, I said softly. Now I take space. Real space. I'm not cutting you out. I'm not disappearing. But I'm stepping back. No more forced holidays. No more guilt trips. No more group chats on the punchline in. Ava looked panicked. So you're just leaving? I nodded. You left me years ago. I'm just finally returning the favor. Her mouth fell open, but no sound came out. No one else spoke. The crash had already happened. Now they were sifting through the rubble. I grabbed my coat, walked to the door, and opened it. The cold air hit my face like a reset button. Before stepping out, I turned back one last time. Jenny gave me a small thumbs up. Liam met my eyes and mouth. Good. My dad gave a nod of approval. My mom whispered my name, but not loud enough for me to answer. Ava stayed frozen in her chair, still clutching the booklet like it was evidence of a crime she didn't want to admit she committed. I stepped out and closed the door behind me. No dramatic slam, just a quiet, final click. Outside, the snow had started to fall, soft flakes landing on my coat, melting on my skin. The world was quiet again. But this time, the quiet didn't feel hollow. It felt peaceful, earned, real. I walked to my car without looking back. Started the engine. Let the heater hum to life. As I drove away, I realized something simple but powerful. For the first time in my life, I wasn't running from my family. I was walking toward myself. And that, I decided, was the best gift anyone could ask for.